Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin show. Today is January the 12th, 2019. Strong hand, unconfiscatable. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture. Deferral of gratification, conviction. All right. I hope everyone likes that picture I'm showing. That was from Thursday when I was in the Samaria section of Israel. A beautiful view of the hills. I'm going to talk about that experience, Thursday's experience on this show. This is the Beyond Bitcoin show. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin show. Man, my voice was shot, as you can tell. I'm getting it back. And it's funny, I just realized today the only time I've spoken out loud was at synagogue. And so that was quite a few hours ago now. So I haven't heard my voice, the progress. It hasn't progressed very much. It's still a little messed up, isn't it? Well, anyway, bear with me. Check out yesterday's This Week in Bitcoin show. We had two new guests, one old guest. It was a calm and educational time. Techbalt.com, disruptmeister.com. You can check out all the old shows. Follow me on Twitter at Techbalt, TECHBALT. And yes, on yesterday's show, I didn't notice that the great James Del Garcio sent me $1.99 in the super chat, and I want to thank him for that. He says, we need a Lightning Network nightly lottery that builds. All right. I mean, I'm not into lotteries, but if they can create something on Lightning Network that'll get people excited, if it's a lottery, don't blow your money on it, people. But maybe that'll be the killer app that'll get the world interested in Bitcoin. We were discussing on the This Week in Bitcoin show, the Lightning Network extensively at first, and the interesting and that I said, and the panel agreed that we can't predict what's going to be built on top of the Lightning Network, just like we couldn't predict the social media on top of the internet. In 1999, we couldn't predict that. So there are some interesting things that are coming on the Lightning Network. We can't even imagine them yet. All right. I'm going to stop sharing. Let's see if this works. If you can see me now. You can almost see me, right? Yeah, there you go. There's Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister. There, you can see my shirt of the week. You can get these shirts linked to below. That one's from Crypto Graffiti. That's a classic. People always misinterpret it. They're like, you love Decred. It says it on your shirt. No, I got a free shirt, a cool looking free shirt. It's all about Bitcoin. Pound that like button, people. Okay, so let's jump into the show. First thing we're going to talk about, and what is the first thing we're going to talk about? Oh, economic invincibility. I talk about this guy's channel a lot on the show, and on today's show, I think I linked to 3 videos of his. So the first video he's just straight talking to all the YouTube creators, all the Patreon people that are complaining, that are saying, well, how can they turn us off? How can they censor us? How can they take away our money? And he says, you guys are all into the free market. If a company doesn't like what you're doing, if they don't like what you're saying, then they can cut you off. Tough luck. I mean, you can't be all free market and then be like, oh, government force Patreon to keep me on Patreon, force YouTube to keep me. They don't have to like you. YouTube doesn't have to. Eventually, YouTube won't like you. Eventually, Patreon won't like you. They're centrally controlled organizations and they got to follow their own rules. That's why he didn't say this, but the solution is Bitcoin. So you can cry, and he's attacking the guys that are crying, and he can, that's his take, and he gets people to view his video because he's got an interesting take on what's going on. But my take is real simple. Just get into Bitcoin. Don't rely on these third parties. Diversify. Don't rely on one of the third parties. But in the end of the day, just have Bitcoin. Have Bitcoin as your list your Bitcoin address. Get more people to list their Bitcoin addresses under their content, and get donations that way. And don't be surprised when YouTube cuts you off. And if you want to, let me say, if you need to make money this way, if this is your prime source of income, YouTube or Patreon or wherever, where there are rules, where it is politically correct, then you gotta follow the rules. Then that's what you signed up for, dude. That's what you signed up for. Now, if you don't rely on it that much, or you don't give a darn, and you have a backup plan like Bitcoin, then you don't complain when you get kicked off. At least. All right. So Scott Adams, and again, everything I talk about is linked to below. Pound that like button. If you're, I pound that like button if you're not watching the NFL now and you're watching Adam Meister instead of the NFL. I guess the NFL game is on right now. I realized that a little bit before I got on. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But Scott Adams is an interesting character. His videos can go real long. Again, all these videos that I recommend, play at like 1.5x, play at 2x, play all my videos. You save so much time speeding up these videos. And numerous people have come up to me and said, Adam, I'm glad you told me about that little YouTube hack. It saved me a lot of time. So yeah, I don't care if it sounds like I'm on crack when you're watching my videos. You'll get it. You'll get it done faster. You'll get it done faster, man. And Scott Adams is a slow talker. I'll tell you that. So he doesn't sound like crack at all. Like he's on crack when you're playing him at 2x. He sounds like me regularly, I guess. So he talks about the border debate, the wall debate that's going on. And he says, everyone thinks that it's tearing the country apart, but it's really bringing us together. Because we've all learned so much about the wall. We can see either side of the immigration debate, the border debate. Democrats can see the Republicans see the Democrat side. Okay, dude. No. If you've wasted that much time on it, that it's brought you toward the other side, that you're worrying about it so much that you think it's brought the nation together, it's been a complete waste of time. I haven't studied it. Like he's talking about how people have deeply studied it so they can see both sides, and that's great for the nation. No, that's horrible for the nation. If they've gotten so obsessed with this wall thing and the immigration thing that they know both sides of the story, they can debate both sides. They should have been being productive during that time instead of worshiping Trump or worshiping Pelosi and worrying about, is the wall going to be built? And are the immigrants going to come in? Are they not going to get in? Don't be in motion, people. Be in motion. You create your own content instead of worrying about these these sociopaths content, because it puts them further onto a pedestal. And no elected official should be worshipped. And you shouldn't, they are just preening and posing. This is all a game to them. They don't care about border or security or immigrants and walls. It's all to get more votes in the long run, to maintain power. And if you've fallen into the trap that Scott Adams is glorifying, that, learning so much about this, worrying so much about this, then you've just wasted a bunch of time when you could have been getting into Bitcoin, could have been improving yourself financially or intellectually, studying real learning type of subjects. Not this is a soap opera. This is a soap opera. It's become a complete soap opera from what I've heard from Ben Shapiro, from Scott. Again, I'm not directly researching this wall thing at all. Again, I'm not in the United States right now anyway. Our tax money is being wasted a million billion different ways. So they build a wall, whatever, build a wall. There you go. And the government shutdown, and then people get obsessed with the government shutdown. Oh, they're not being paid. Dude, they don't do any work in the first place. It's the cool thing about the government shutdown. And again, I'm not an expert on the government shutdown. I don't know when they're going to get their paychecks, but they are going to get their paychecks. But I just think it's great that, the United States can function completely normally, and you don't need half the workers that supposedly are so necessary. You don't need it just shows how bloated the bureaucracy is. If you've learned that, then good. But I don't think that's not what Scott Adams was saying. No, he thinks it's a very important, very something everyone should be studying, and becoming, bringing the nation together over this debate. Who care? Bringing the nation. We don't worry about the nation being together on the same. Let everybody have their own thoughts. Let everybody go their own way. Let everybody take care of their darn selves. I mean, I don't. So what about some dude in New Mexico, or in Arizona or California, or Texas? I mean, I don't want anybody getting hurt or anything, but if just I'm going to improve my life here. Okay. You got to take care of yourself. I'm not there to take care of the dude in Arizona. Okay. Or the dude in Santa Fe, wherever. Okay. You got to worry about yourself first. And then if you've got yourself taken care of, then yeah, you can participate in these larger debates and everything. But it's so much of it is based on emotion. You get trapped into emotional traps. Instead of being emotional, be in motion. Pound that like button. Okay, so fasting tips. I just stumbled on this lady's video. I forgot what her name is. I linked to her 2 videos below. She simplifies intermittent fasting, some other fasting, and it's a good beginner. Some of the stuff I disagree with, but a lot of you have asked me about my fasting protocol. Watch this lady's stuff. It'll give you some ideas. She's not perfect, but she explains some very basic stuff. Fasting taps into your self-repair mechanism, she says. Food is not coming into your body, so your body can start destroying toxins. It can heal itself. Our bodies do have the ability to heal themselves. I believe that, but you can't be pummeling them with food constantly. That you need to give your body time to do that, to take care of itself. Again, just like you're not digesting. Your body naturally digests food, right? You don't have to do anything extra to digest food. It's but if you start drinking a lot of liquor and putting all sorts of poison in your stuff, your body will stop digesting food properly. The nutrients aren't going to go to you the correct way. So again, if you want to repair yourself, your body, it has a self-repair mechanism. To tap into that, you can't be pummeling yourself with a bunch of food all the time. Give your digestive system, your body can ignore the digestive system for a while. It can concentrate on some other issues that are in your body. If you're sick, again, and this is theoretical, and this is not a very technical way of explaining it, but I think it's a base level to get people in. Like, people ask me, well, why do you fast? Why do you fast? Well, there are some reasons right there, because our body can't, I believe this taps into the body's, it awakens the body's, self-repair mechanism. And again, your body's always repairing itself, but I guess it boosts up that mechanism to a very strong level that's going to take care of some serious issues if you do have serious issues. And this lady, she's catering toward men, male and females, which is great if you're a female watcher of this. Sometimes I only talk about things that pertain with men, but this definitely is for women also. But I don't care about losing weight. A lot of people get into this to lose weight, and apparently you can lose weight. I obviously am a thin guy and everything, so that's not why I got into it. But losing weight, I mean, if you're obese, you're healing your body that way by getting. Obesity is sickness. That's sickness. So if you get rid of that obesity, you're healing yourself, definitely. So yeah, check out this lady's videos. I forgot her name. Doctor, she's got black hair. I don't know. And I'd never heard of her before. And she talks about dry fasting also, which she does not recommend, and I do not recommend. Again, I'm saying the words dry fasting, but that is not something that I do. Dry fasting means no food and no liquid. When I fast, I just have water. Now, as some of you may know, Jewish people, during their fast, Yom Kippur, Tisha B'Av, those are 25-hour fast. We don't drink water then. So those are the 2 times a year for 25 hours. I don't drink water or eat. Again, it's not, well, it might kill some people to do that, to tell you the truth. If you're sick already, it probably will get you sicker. But But I don't recommend doing things like that. But for a healthy person like me, or for, I mean, look, every Jewish person does it. Not every Jewish person is super. Not every Jewish person does it, but many Jewish people do it twice a year or once a year, probably just on Yom Kippur. And then the Jewish people do have other fasts that are like 12 hours, 15 hours. It depends on what time of year it is, and they don't drink water then either. That's not that big of a deal. But I'm going back to the point of dry fasting. Yes, I dry fast twice a year for 25 hours. It's religiously based. I'm not telling you to do that at all. She says she hears people on the internet talking about how they dry fasted for 3 days. I'm surprised those people aren't dead. Don't. That is a very foolish idea to do. You need water. You need water. And I think some people do it is because you probably start hallucinating a little. Your mind, there might be some additional clarity around that 25th hour or something like that. You might feel a little lightheaded or something. Who knows? I recommend fasting to heal yourself, not to have visions. Okay. Uh, and if you need if you're mentally disturbed, if you need your mental state needs to be healed. I don't know if fasting is the way to go about that. You know, I mean, talking to people that's a good solution. Uh, all right, and I also don't recommend fast mimicking. That's where you actually eat a little during the day. Just do the real thing. Do the real thing. Do a water fast. No, I don't use supplements. I don't put salt in or I just do water. So again, every single day I do a 22-hour fast. That's my intermittent fasting. Um, then I do, 41 and 52-hour fast at least once a month. That's usually when I'm on a plane, or when I'm traveling. Like when I went to Samaria, the day Thursday, I didn't eat at all. So it ended up being a 49-hour fast or something like that. I don't even know. And then she recommends this, and I also recommend it. If you've built yourself up where you can do like a 48-hour fast, or where you're doing intermittent fasting like every day, then you do a 72-hour fast like once or twice a year. And then from there, you can do 100. I've done a 120-hour fast. That's my recommendation. Now, when you start to get, and that's 5 days. When you start to get to you can't just jump into a 7-day fast. I really recommend you build these type of things up. And there comes a certain point when, if you do something like a 10-day fast, they are risks. I mean, you got to be in shape. I don't think I'm planning on ever doing a 10-day fast. I probably maybe will do a 7-day one day. But again, all the fasts that I have done, again, I am in good shape. And again, so the 72-hour ones are, you're supposed to rejuvenate stem cells or something, or restart your immune system. There are all these things that happen after 3 or 5 days, and that's why I tried those ones out. And I don't have proof. I'm not going to have proof until I'm like 96 years old if I'm healthy or something. I mean, that's the end of the day. These are all deferral of gratification type of exercises. You don't really know immediately. Well, again, if you're out of shape and you're overweight, you are going to notice some things right away. But if you're already in shape, pretty good shape, there's some little things you might have more energy a couple days after the real long ones, after the 5-day ones. But again, what I was going to say, the only fast that I have partook in, that I have, okay, that I've done, when they're over, I eat normally right away. Because there are people that ask, well, don't you have to gradually get into it? No, I don't have to. After 120 hours, I just ate normally right afterwards. Now, I don't know what happens after 7 days. If you have like a 10-day fast, I don't think you can just eat normally right afterwards. I would not risk doing that. I would not like take a 10-day fast and then eat a freaking salmon or something like that. That might not be. You might have to gradually get back into eating after that. There comes a certain point when your body is so not used to eating that you could shock the body by eating. Is what I'm saying. But that's again, if you're dealing with, and again, I have gone up to 5 days and I've eaten my body has not been going into any sort of shock like that. Maybe that's just me, but I will tell you this: there are people that ask me, "Well, don't you have to gradually eat after not eating for 25 hours?" No, there's no. You just eat. You just drink it. You don't stuff your face. but you just eat like you normally did beforehand. You eat it. I mean, people make a huge deal out of this. People are like, I can't get to 16 hours. I can't get this. Eventually, if you practice, it's so easy. It's just a normal thing. It's just a normal thing. 16 hours without food, 20 hours without food. And for me, 22 hours without food is totally normal. I am never hungry. I'm not hungry. I'm not. And so it rarely is 22 hours. It's usually 23, 24 hours, something like that. They're over 22 hours, usually over 22 hours. Okay, I talked a heck of a lot about that today. My voice isn't doing too well. I got to get my drink of water in a second. So what is this? Okay. We're talking about intermittent fasting. And for me, I have quantifiable goals every day. And I think some people need this kind of accomplishment in life where they can say every day they made some sort of progress. They made something that's quantifiable. So, and a lot of people gain happiness from accomplishments every day. Now, this is just the way I am. I get into certain patterns and I do quantify a lot of things. That's how I naturally am. So every day it has to be at least 22 hours. Every week I have to run 20 miles. Every week I have to do one set of 15 sprints interval training. And I have to do a show here every single day. Tune in here every day. Because I do a show every day. And so once those things, and there's a certain workout routine I do every day. And I guess if I didn't do it, I would probably be disappointed. Doing it is just a normal thing for me. But I'm advising this to everyone out there, come up with something that's a healthy accomplishment, a healthy goal that's quantifiable. I did 2 of these things today, or I did 5 of these things this week, or I fasted 18 hours every other day, or I mean, and once you set that goal and then you get that goal and you accomplish it, and it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. I don't know. It gets you into good habits, and it's something where you defer gratification also, because I feel that deferral gratification, discipline is strength. These accomplishments that I'm talking about come through discipline, because you're doing every day, or every week, whatever it is. There's a certain discipline, and I feel that self-discipline does bring a certain level of happiness and purpose. So there's my little philosophical rant of the day, I guess, or real life philosophy, things you can apply to your real life that involve health. And I mean, this is the way I'm just telling you the way I live. And you can, I mean, some of you met me in person. This is me. This is who I really am. And you can see I'm doing all right. I mean, I've got the will to do this thing every single day. And it gives me makes me feel good. Makes me feel good that I'm doing it every day. All right. And there's you got to derive meaning somehow. And there's a lot of other ways I get meaning in my life, but clearly, my little accomplishments every single day, knowing that I'm living this healthy lifestyle, gives me some meaning and a great sense of accomplishment, that I'm doing it the best I can here. I'm living my life to the healthiest way I can. And I look back, and obviously, when I used to drink and party and stuff, that wasn't the healthiest thing. It was fun for a while, but that wasn't a long-term, yeah, I couldn't, you can't keep that up for ever. You can't keep that up forever. You gotta gain value from other things eventually. All right. So let's talk about my trip to Samaria here in Israel. So there's a guy who's a Bitcoin fan who watches this, who invited me out to Karnei Shomron, and I took the train to a stop, and he picked me up from the stop, and then he drove me into the Samaria area of Israel. Now, all these things are linked to below, so you can be more familiar with this part of Israel. Now, this part of Israel, the media, the UN, the whoever, they think it's who knows what they think it is, what they call it. I use its proper name. It's called Samaria. And I also was in Elon Moreh, obviously Carne Shamron. These are near biblical things. You see where Joshua did something or other. That was in Elon Moreh. And I was in Ramat Gilad and Havat Gilad. And when you're out there, it's like the Western frontier. Like there's a pioneer spirit. Uh, these two, I don't. They're little. They're you could get. They're a bunch of shipping containers. Ramat. Okay, what was it? Either Ramat Gilad or Havat Gilad. It's on it. They're on hilltops. Okay, and it's a bunch of really a lot of younger Jewish people with a lot of conviction have set up these. They're not really houses. They're shipping containers. They live in shipping containers on these hills. They're pioneering spirit just to live there. And these aren't some of these aren't even officially, or parts of them aren't even officially recognized by Israel as real towns or whatever. And basically, they cut in the side of the road. They cut the sidewalk off, and they make a path, and you drive up the path, and then up the hill you got these shipping. And I was in these shipping containers. I visited with a family there, and they had like 8 kids and everything, and it's really it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful area. It's cold. It's a little colder out there because it's in the hills. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even know I was going to end up in one of these shipping containers. You're one of these little, because again, there's a big difference between Carne Shamron is like, it looks like a regular neighborhood in the United States almost, or in Israel or whatever. Same thing with Elon Moreh, but on these hilltop outposts where the people are living in the shipping containers, and they don't exactly look like shipping containers, but that's what they originally were. You can tell. I mean, they got kitchens in them and stuff, and there's dogs outside, and they make wine, and they make olive oil. And I linked to a wine that comes from the Samaria area. I had it boxed up so nicely that I don't want to open it. I just want to leave it like that for when I go back to the United States. So you're not going to see the wine that I got, but you can it's linked to below. And the olive oil that they make right there. The people are very resourceful there. And I just thought, like, I didn't know what to expect from the roads. I mean, anyone can drive on those roads. Anyone can drive onto those hilltops. Now, again, like Carne Shamron's got security at the front. That's like it's like a town. It's like a town, but it's got like a gate to get into the town. But it's off the main road. The main road is 55. There's a road. It's number 55, and so you see all sorts of people on this road. There are people that are going to what's it? Nablus. Nablus is where the Arabs live in Nablus. So, I mean, you see Arabs there. You drive through. I couldn't believe we're driving through these Arab, like they got shops and stuff on the road along the main road. And by the way, Jews are not allowed to enter Nablus. You cannot enter. There's a big red sign. You can Google this and says, if you're Jewish, you cannot enter Nablus. And there's Israeli soldiers that are guarding it and stuff. I mean, if you're Arab, you can go in there, and that's where they live and stuff. But I could not go into Nablus. I'm not allowed to go into Nablus. Now, again, there's on this main 55 road, Arabs are driving on it. Everybody's driving on it. It's not, you got to go there. All this time, the times I've been to Israel, I feared going to these areas because things have happened in these areas. But not many things, but when something happens, it's in the news, and it can be vicious. There have been people that have driven into these hills and killed these young people with conviction. It's just random. There's randomness. And again, there's certain, but they live with this confidence. Like their doors are unlocked. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You have to see it for yourself. And the media portrayal of this area as some sort of police state, or it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. I mean, and that this area isn't important for Israel. When I was it was either Havat Gilad or Ramat Gilad. You're on top of this hill, and you can see Tel Aviv. You can see the skyscrapers of Tel Aviv. If enemies of Tel Aviv, if the enemies had control over this area, complete control over these hills. They could just set up any pretty basic weapons. I mean, I'm not a weapons expert, but some basic missiles that you can get, on the black market. Set it up there, and you could shoot you could aim them at the skyscrapers of Tel Aviv from here. It's the Samaria region. Israel can't give that up. They cannot give it up. I mean, would you let Al Qaeda get New Jersey? I mean, where they could shoot at a higher point than the World Trade Center? I mean, no, you really, that's not a good strategic move. It's not a good, and Al Qaeda could, they could promise to be good. We're not going to get missiles and we're going to be on the higher ground, but we won't use our missiles. We used them before when we were on the low ground, but once we've got the advantage, it's just, so I recommend a tour. I recommend you go out there, and it's like, there's nothing stopping you from going on these roads. The roads connect to, I mean, go if you know someone, just drive around with them. That's what I did. I know someone, he drove me around. He drove me to different, the places that I mentioned. So it was definitely eye opening. And I mean, you do see, obviously you see soldiers all over Israel. That's another thing. And I don't think in Tel Aviv, you see soldiers. I mean, but I mean, you see, you could tell the security is a little bit different over there than in, like Tel Aviv or something. But again, everyone's using those roads. Everyone's on those roads. It's not like they're separated. The light, again, if you live in Nablus, if you're an Arab and you live in Nablus, because that's part of area, whatever, I don't even know what the names, you have a different license plate. So when you're on the main road, you see Arab guys who live in Nablus and stuff. So yeah, so where I was obviously all the Israeli. So okay, to put it, I think a little bit more clear, I think people think that there's this other country, that there's Israel and there's this other country. When you are driving there, you are in Israel. Okay, it's so clear you're in Israel, and then you'll see, and you'll see some Arabs that sometimes you see like Arabs on the side. They're in donkey carts and stuff. I mean, they got like a sheep and a donkey or something. But then you see the Arab, they have stores that Jewish people can visit. Anyone can visit. But unfortunately, I mean, there's some tension. And then you see the one thing that is you see a town that you can't go into as a Jewish person. You can't get into Nablus. But other than that, everything else is Israel. The road is Israel. The signs are Israel. Everything, there's no real difference between, a sign in Tel Aviv and a sign there, a road in Tel Aviv and a road there. It's just all of a sudden you can see a city that you can't enter. And then there's some other Arab towns that you can't enter. So there's these little specks, but they're connected though. They can get on the road. One speck of a town can visit another speck of a town. Okay. But the whole infrastructure, it's Israel. So it's like these little Arab specks that are in this big Israeli sea. And I don't think people really picture it that way, but that's the reality on the ground. What's going on in Nablus? I have no idea. I can't go into Nablus. I'm not allowed to go in there. But I mean, they live there. They're living there. They're driving in and out of it and whatever. So that's what I saw. I recommend you come, if you're in Israel, go out there, go visit these hilltops. And again, I did the most hardcore thing you can. I went to a hilltop that the Israeli government, or at least part of it, the Israeli government does not recognize. So they say it's illegal. It was built illegally, whatever. So to say these, and again, people say that these hilltops and the towns in Samaria are obstacles to peace. What, you're going to boat? You're going to get rid of a suburb? I mean, people are again, the amazing thing is these aren't the people who live in Karnei Shomron. They're like commuting to Tel Aviv and stuff. They're commuters. When we were leaving, it was like being on I-95 between Washington and Baltimore. You see, there's just like traffic jam of people coming back in to Samaria, people who've commuted. So again, it's like you don't just destroy suburbs. You just don't say, "Oh, that suburb is an obstacle of peace. We're gonna liquidate this suburb," and what's gonna happen to it then? I mean, it's you got to be on the ground to see how things have progressed. This is the Israelis have built the infrastructure there. I mean, Jordan controlled that area for so long, and what was it? What? They didn't build infrastructure. There's a bunch of guys in donkey carts. Like there's still a bunch of guys in donkey carts today. They did donkey carts. Israel built suburbs, and so I mean what that's what it is on the ground. That's what it is. See it for yourself, and I think you'll have a. I mean, you make your own. You get your own opinion, I guess. To judge for yourself. But I had a good time out there, and I liked what I saw out there. I mean, how's this going to end at the end of the day? What's the solution going to be at the end? I mean, I would recommend that if the Arabs were peaceful, if they if they didn't randomly invade people's houses and stuff, and they just they could have that city just deal with it. You live in this city, it's in Israel. I think what Israel should offer all the Arabs is, I mean, the solution should be every Arab should be paid to leave. If they want to leave, if they're willing to leave, they should be paid. They should be compensated. They should be compensated. Any Arab in any part of Israel should, if they want to leave, they should be there should be an option to pay them to leave. And so, and I think that and if they stick around, then they got to deal with the rules and everything. If they don't want to stick around, and apparently a lot of them aren't very happy right now, then they should be paid to leave. And they should be compensated. Definitely should be financially compensated. And they can, with the amount of money that they would be given, they could set up a really nice life in an Arab country or in a third world country that needed labor or something. I don't know what they can do. I mean, I got to tell you the truth. When you're driving by the Arab towns, the houses are pretty nice. I mean, everything looks pretty normal. They live a high standard in Samaria. They live a high standard of living compared to these other holes around the world, around the Middle East and stuff. So, I mean, go see it for yourself. But yeah, I think part of the solution is to pay them to leave. If they're unhappy, then give them some money and they can leave and start a new life, and a substantial amount of money where they can start a new life. Have where the money they get, they'd be living at a higher standard of living in their new country. All right. So, because right now, I mean, there's a big, I mean, obviously, there's a security costs a lot of money, welfare costs a lot of money. A long term thinker says a lump sum payment gets rid of the issues right away, and everyone gets something for it. Nothing's being stolen. No one can say anything was stolen. You're compensated. All right, but again, there's a frontier spirit out there. It's difficult. I don't think I'm putting it all into words as best as I can. So I do recommend people to go out there. I linked to some of it below. And again, Samaria. Look up Samaria. I was in Carne Shimron was the one that looked. But it's like a suburb built on a beautiful view. I mean, you guys saw the views, and at the beginning, beautiful hills, and there's biblical history there. It's vital. It's vital for Israel. They can't give it up. I mean, you can't give up these hills. You can literally see Tel Aviv, the skyscrapers. It's just you don't give up the high ground. You don't give up the high ground. It's silly. It's suicidal to do that. All right, so here's a story from this is from Maryland. Maryland voters support raising the minimum wage to $15. Well, obviously, most Maryland voters don't run their own businesses. I mean, to force someone to pay someone $15 an hour, the government's going to tell me you got to pay your employees $50 an hour. Well, what's going to happen in the long run? You're going to have less employees. But of course, it's all based on emotion. It sounds so nice. Oh, they're going to get their $15. Oh, they're going to be so happy. No, there's a cost. The emotion is blinding you. There's a cost to the employer. The employer is going to have to charge you more, or he's going to have to fire an employee. Let the market decide. But again, they just, I mean, it shows you I'm sharing that story, um, just to tell you about the what most voters, their mentality is very short-term thinking. They don't analyze things, and they go with nice slogans like 15 now, whatever the slogan is. Now, here's a video from Stefan Molyneux, the shocking truth about Medicaid fraud. And he's got a guy on that just reveals all the so many scams. And we already know this. People bill for so much. They bill for taking care of adults that they're not even taking care of, giving transportation they're not really giving to Medicaid. It's it's a ridiculous system. Now, Stefan Molyneux brings up some racial aspects to it, and I'm not in. If you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law. If you've got some big scam, I don't care what you are. You're stealing. Okay, the taxation is theft to begin with. Okay, we're being forced to give the government money, and then it's being redistributed to people who are doing these scams. And so they should not, they're crooks, okay? I don't care what race they are, I don't care what their take on it, if they're trying to help certain people, not, they're stealing. And what I would one big takeaway from the video is that the system is so corrupt that the Medicaid system is so corrupt that any schmo can come up with a scam and steal from it. Why do you want to be in that system at all? You should not want to be in any government medical system at all. You should not want them to be even thinking about universal Medicare or Medicaid or whatever. You shouldn't be. To prepare for such a thing, you got to take personal responsibility and stay in shape. And don't rely on these doctors who participate in these scams. Rely on yourself so you never even have to go to a doctor, okay? Because clearly the system is very corrupt. I wouldn't want my life depending on that system, on Medicaid, where people are completely just the stories that we're told. And you can find these stories anywhere. But I mean, the government doesn't want to do anything about it because so many people benefit from it. If you take away their Medicaid and their Medicare, they're not going to vote for you anymore. So that's what voting's about, getting more and more free stuff like that. Um oh yeah, well, and again, I was impressed that the people that I met in the on the hills, on the hilltops, they knew about Bitcoin. I did like that. Maybe they'll be able to use it one day. But they did know about it. Was that they said, well, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm the big." The guy who was introducing me said that's what my job was Bitcoin. Okay, another video here, another interesting video, and this is from Economic Invincibility, false morality of the majority. And this is what I was talking about before. The majority makes emotional decisions, okay? Um, it's not necessarily the moral thing. Just because most people say, "Oh, we got to do this," they're in with votes, with the way the majority rule. Most people are just thinking emotionally. So, is $15 an hour? Is that the forcing $15 an hour on some private businesses? Is that's false morality there? Just because the majority thinks that's moral. That's no, it's a false morality. Just because the majority is emotional about it. I mean, maybe they don't think it's moral. They make an emotional decision like, oh, we got to save the poor people. And what economic invincibility brings up in this video, and it's a short one. You should watch the whole thing. Uh, you only care about you people only care about poor people in Africa because you were told to. You wouldn't have known about it. It was something that was trendy. It was something, we are the world, all that. I mean, it's through the years, all these things have been brought to your attention. Everybody else, you got emotionally involved in it, and that's why you cared. That's why you cared about it. And it was the majority. It was, and the majority says we gotta do this. We gotta take care of this country. We gotta take care of that country. I mean, again, it's a false morality there with some of the things. I mean, again, if you personally want to do it, then do it. But not everyone needs to care about what's going on in Africa. No, not everyone. People got their own problems. Again, you can care about it, but most people, if you ask them, well, why do you care about this issue? It's because They heard about it. Other people were doing it. It's like majority rule type of stuff. And they based it on emotion. They weren't thinking. All right. So here is an interesting one about cholesterol. Cardiovascular risk of low carbohydrate, high fat diet. And this is Dr. David Diamond. And he explores the LDL myth. A lot of people freak out if their cholesterol is too high. And you do there's some people that just you can you don't need to just work if your LDL is super high. There can be other it's not cholesterol isn't necessarily a bad thing. LDL isn't necessarily but you need LDL, okay? What you got to do is not eat sugars and stuff. All right? The high fat thing it's treated me well. It treats a lot of people well. But then some doctors will see that the person's LDL has gone off and say, well, you need to go on statins now. You need to go on statins. Watch this guy's video and you'll see that that this LDL thing, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a myth, but it's something people freak out way too much. It's not as simple as looking at your LDL number, okay? Or your or a bunch of numbers. So many of these numbers we might find out one day they're just completely meaningless. It might be just like, well, he's got a high LDL number, and it's just as meaningless as he's got brown hair and she's got red hair, type of thing. We shall see. We shall see. I eat a high fat diet, low carb diet. I don't eat any processed carbs. I think that is key. I think if one thing you can do is just not eat any. You can eat, this isn't going to kill you. This is natural. This is an orange. All right. But a bunch of bread, I haven't had bread in years other than twice a year during Passover. I have a piece of matzah on the first day, a piece of matzah on the second day. That's it. That's all the bread I have in a whole year. That's nothing. But again, no processed carbs at all. No processed carbs. Uh, and just simple ingredients, real food. And yeah, meat is a real food. Just like an apple is a real food. Okay. I'm not going to get into the debate, the vegan debate and all this stuff. Just the least you can do is avoid the processed carbs, the candy. I eat no candy, no junk food at all, none at all. And I think a lot of people would be in better shape if they just took those simple steps right there. But hey, man, personal responsibility is a new counterculture. If you want to eat your candy, drink your soda all your life, and then end up on Medicaid and letting some scammer, be your doctor or scamming the government, then do what you're going to do. You're probably not going to end up in a good state. So last week I talked about how China landed a probe on the dark side of the moon. And the United States, of course, did send a probe all the way out to the Kuiper Belt past Pluto. These are both great accomplishments. Now, China can get there faster. If we're just talking about governments, China is, completely centralized. There's no opposition in their government. They can build anything. They can steal from their people. They can force their people to work in projects. They use force, okay? And they can use force to further their space program. With NASA can only go so far, okay? Because it is a government program. We have to realize that. So I say, China's going to do what they're going to do. Are they? And they're going to be able to move faster than the United States government eventually, soon probably in terms of the space race. That's why here in the United States, let's let the entrepreneurs take it away. Elon Musk is doing a great thing. I can tell you this, Elon Musk, if you let him free and you let all these other guys free and not, let them, you don't want them polluting the earth or anything like that, but don't limit them. Let them do what they're going to do. They'll be able to beat China. They'll send a man to Mars before China does. Entrepreneurship beats centralized state economies. It does. The market beats that type of state economy. But the unfortunate thing is in an economy like China, they can beat NASA because NASA is never going to be as focused as China's version of NASA is. There's too many things pulling at our NASA. And again, government government in the United States, it gets corrupted and such. Like China can really focus, and China can be immoral and very immoral. I mean, what they could do is they could start creating a 200 IQ children and stuff to work for their space, their space slaves or something like that. Okay, we created you. You got 200 IQ. Now figure out how we're going to get to the Mars. But I think the innovation of the free market in the United States, entrepreneurs can beat that. All right, enough. I don't approve of. I don't recommend becoming a country like China, where our government just can pick a project and go like full steam ahead on it. That's horrible. That's terrible. That's force right there. I will say this: while China is focused on clearly on technological innovations, and again, they're doing it through some evil means, from some corrupt means. Um, Here in the United States, what are we? We're talking about walls, virtue signaling, Kardashians. Oh, it's so great that our leaders are so diverse. We've got every combo: female, gay, Muslim, bisexual, transsexual, this, that, and the other. That's our accomplishments. Just saying, oh, we got so many, we've given so many people, we've pushed so many people ahead that maybe didn't deserve to be pushed ahead. Those are not real accomplishments. Unfortunately, China landing a man on the moon, not a man, landing a probe on the dark side of the moon, that is a real accomplishment. Kardashians, that's not an accomplishment. No. So the United States, it seems like the mainstream in the United States is very obsessed with virtue signaling and not really being in motion and making any progress. Luckily, we do have 20 percenters here still in the United States that are in motion, that do want progress. And I know the 20 percenters here can outdo what a dictatorial government is doing in China. Now, if China all of a sudden became free and just let their people do what they want to do, then I'm sure the people there could become entrepreneurs, and it would be an even fight between the entrepreneurs in China and the entrepreneurs in the United States in a space race. And it would be good. It would be good for humanity. I mean, I'm not exactly sure if the Chinese government, their space plans, if that's necessarily going to be great for humanity. It could be, but I don't like the means that they go about doing it, because they do it through force. They run their government through some vicious force. And again, our government is run through various levels of force also. The taxation is theft. We've gone through that. But again, let's opt into Bitcoin, and we can just analyze all this stuff theoretically. And again, I'm saying eventually there's going to be some people that opted into Bitcoin they'll be like fiat trillionaires, and they'll be able to fund the next level of exploration. As you can tell, I'm big into exploration. I'm a very curious person. I'm big into pioneers. I like development on so many different levels. I think you've gathered that from so many topics that I've talked about today. I mean, you can live in the Stone Age and act like a caveman, throw rocks at people, or you can, develop and build and create and encourage business and innovation. All right. What do we got here? Someone I heard, I think it was Economic Invincibility, says that some people today on social media and the internet, they're just so bored. They just have nothing better to do with life, that nitpicking has become a hobby. And that's basically what a troll is. They just nitpick. You'll say one thing wrong and they'll nitpick at it. Dude, don't let nitpicking be your hobby. If you ever wake up to the realization that you've been nitpicking a lot, that's not healthy. Don't let it be your hobby. Okay. I also brought up the NFL last week because I said the Ravens were in the playoffs and they lost. And I again want to remind everyone that I have been off of the NFL for 3 years. And during this 3 years, the hours that I dedicated instead of dedicating all those hours to the NFL, worrying about the Ravens, I was so productive during that time. It was such a great shift in priorities. But who knows how many hours I used to put into worrying about the Ravens and following the statistics every single game. And so all of that went to Bitcoin, all of that went to crypto and these videos, and who knows what else, how I've become more productive. So that's, I didn't stress that enough last week, that it's, I got tired of the NFL, but instead of I did productive things during the time that I would have been wasting on the NFL. So if you give up something like the NFL, make sure you use that time for something productive because you go from being, very unproductive to the complete opposite side. It's just a great reallocation of your time. Okay, another I wonder how long I've been talking here. Seems like a long time. Economic invincibility says don't okay. There's some people out there, some guys out there who see these ladies with successful channels that are sometimes dealing with men's issues or sometimes just they do entertaining things and they raise funds. They raise funds. Some of their men's issues channels are more popular than men's issues channels. And so you have all these guys complaining like, "Oh, these ladies, it's terrible. It's the ladies' fault. The ladies." No, it's in economic invincibility. And in his video, it's linked below. It's not the ladies' fault. It's the men's fault. Who is funding these ladies? They're not doing this because out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it because they've seen it's a successful way of raising money. And who is funding them? It's not ladies that are giving them money. It's men that are giving them money. There's a lot of guys who like to talk a hardcore talk about, yeah, the women they're terrible. And then they're the same guys who are tossing money through Patreon, through YouTube at these ladies. So no, I don't blame the ladies for making these channels because there's so many suckers out there. You don't be a sucker. Don't be a sucker. And and whatever, so their channels might be filled with complete fluff. So then don't fund their channels. Don't support them. Don't watch them. Okay? You go your own way. Exactly. Worry about yourself because again, it's not their fault. It's men that are supporting them. It is clearly they're talking about men's issues and sometimes they're doing little dances for them. It's not women. Maybe there's a couple women that are funding them, but it's mostly men. So again, I'm not a blame or anything like that, but the reason these women are able to do these channels is because of men. It's because of men. So if you're a man, don't blame the women. Just look inside at yourself. Are you supporting these channels that you supposedly hate? Um, are you supporting these women that you supposedly you're complaining about? Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Don't throw your money away and then complain about what you're throwing your money away to. Give your money to yourself. Support yourself. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to do that one because I think we're almost out of time here. I'll save the Baltimore water for next week then. All right, that's it. Uh, that is all then. I think that's all. Thanks for this has been a long show, hasn't it? Okay, pound that like button, bang that bell button, click on those squares, check out the archives, disruptmeister.com. Check out the other Beyond Bitcoin shows. I do this every Saturday night. This has been a good one. I'm Adam Meister to Bitcoin Meister to Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, check out the link section below, and have discipline, dudes, long-term thinking, and deferral of gratification. You'll be in good shape. It's a good step to take. See you later. Bye bye.